sales and what she's doing. I've been watching her. And I just thought how wonderful it would be to have someone specifically in sales to come and join us and share with us a little bit. So Helen and I have been voice noting backwards and forwards about what would be like best for where you're at right now. And I also told her that you guys love asking questions, so we are going to wait and have some Q&A time at the end as well. But aside from that, Helen, I'm not going to give any more away, and I am going to hand over to you. I think it's also being recorded, so we're also
perfect. Brilliant. So I've sent the deck to you, so you should have that.
Yeah, super.
Yeah, brilliant. So just can I just ask a question? Where's, like, do you mind just either coming off mute or putting in the chat? Where are you all at in business? And like, how long have you been going for? And what kind of things are you struggling with when it comes to specifically finding clients or getting leads, or, you know, like just generating that interest and that opportunity to have sales calls in your business? Where's like the blockage? Where's it tricky? And you can just put it in the chat if you want, or you can come off mute and like tell me whatever's easiest. And while you're looking at that, like Beth said, we met in a group, in a mastermind group, and for me, I've actually shied away from sales quite a lot in my career. It was only really when I got professional sales training and I realised that it was not about me, it was actually about the other person, that selling felt a lot easier for me. Someone just shifted that insight and the whole world changed for me. And now I teach people how to sell better and well and feel good about it, and how to sell and market their business. Mainly service-based entrepreneurs who are trying to make their first like 5k or 10k. They're trying to get that first foot in, whatever that is for them. And so some of what you guys tell me, I resonate with, because that was happening to me. So yeah, let's have a little look at what is coming in. Just over a year, for my first course, amazing. Yeah, third year in business, all clients come from word of mouth. Find it hard to get new interest. Yeah, still trying to find my first clients. Yeah, that presenting the offer is key. I'm going to go through that. I love that, Abby. I'd love to see a picture of the vulva mug. My goodness, this sounds amazing. I feel that my reach is an issue when it comes to making sales online. Yeah. Been trying to get back in with yoga. Yeah. So this is all things that I struggled with as well. So like, don't worry, this sort of stuff is quite normal. So there's 4 key areas that I would say impact your ability to get more clients coming in. Beth, do we have the slides or not? If we don't, it's cool. Yeah, cool. If not, we can go rogue, we can go ad hoc. So this is something that I teach out, and when you do this work and when you start to have a look at these kind of 4 areas, it is possible to shift the dial in about 12 weeks. Like, you can literally see change in about 3 months. If you start this work now, you can start seeing like your diary in, what are we in, February, March, April, May. I'm embarrassed that I needed my fingers with 8 o'clock at night. So like May will be different. Like, the activity level will be different. You'll feel different about it. So make a commitment to do this stuff now, and I promise you it will look different. I know it's hard to believe that when you can't see the result, and I think one of the most fundamental things with this is we have to go first. So when we're like, where are these clients at? I can't find them, I can't see them. I'll believe it when I see them. I'll believe it when people make themselves known. That's when I'll start to believe that people out there like want what I'm offering. And we have to go first. We have to believe that they're out there. We have to believe that there is demand for the product or the service that we have. And you only have to look at your competition. So for example, the group that Beth and I are in, I wouldn't see it as competition as such, but Chris, that group is pinging every 2 minutes with people joining. So if I had any thoughts about, I don't think anyone wants to pay for help with sales, I only have to look at what's happening in Chris's group, and I'm like, people are paying for help with sales. It's a slightly different mechanism than what I deliver, but it's, you know, that's some evidence. So are your competitors, quote unquote, are people who deliver a similar result to you, are they busy? Do they sign clients? So the first thing we've got to get on board on is there is demand for the result that I deliver. So it might be too much of a stretch for you to go, oh my God, they're everywhere and they just want to pay me today. That might be too far out of reach. But could we all just get on board with the fact that the thing that I deliver, the result that I'm known for, people want that. There are people out there that are prepared to pay money because they're paying other people. We want them to be paying you. That's the thing. So there's going to be 4 things that come up that I see when I coach people. It tends to be here. So if we just go on to the next slide, Beth. Yeah, these tend to create more leads and opportunities to have sales conversations. So it's going to be the strength of your offering, which some of you mentioned on the chat. I don't seem to be able to get it out, or I can't seem to articulate what it is that I do. It's going to be your activity level. And at the beginning, especially in the first couple of years, I promise you, it's the hardest you're ever going to have to work. You're never going to have to work that hard again, because you're going to know what's needed from a consistency level to drive those opportunities. So when people talk about consistency, just bear with me when I explain this sentence, but it's the consistency level that's needed to know what consistency looks like for your business. So I'm posting every day and I'm going networking once a month. It might be that you need to go networking every week in the beginning. It might be that you need to post twice a day. It might be we need to look at what you're doing as well, like the language that you're using and the specificness of it. So we might have to do a bit more than what we're prepared to do in the beginning. But if the result is on the other side of that additional activity, basically, are you prepared to have a go and find out? So that's, I'm not a big fan of doing lots of things and like more, but generally speaking, when I'm meeting people and they're in this stage of business, we're not a walking, talking advert for the result that we deliver in our business just yet. We haven't quite got that bit figured out. The third thing is the ask. Now with this, we don't want to be known as a high risk person that all they do is buy my stuff, sign up here, book a call. We want to vary the ask, because not everybody in your audience is ready to buy right now. So what are we asking those people to do? Because buy a call might be a step, book a call or buy my thing might just be a step too far. So what can we do for the people who are qualified but not quite ready yet? So we need to have a look at what we're asking them to do. And the final thing, which I think we can probably all agree, given some of what you've said that you guys are involved in, there's a few coaches in here and people who deal with transformation, your thinking will be absolutely paramount here, like 100 million%. So that's the thing we're going to focus a little bit more on. So if we move on to the first thing, the offer, we need to have an outcome focused offer. And what I mean by that, if you just click on Beth, there's a couple of things. There we go. We need to have 2 vital things in an offer. There's more stuff to this. There's like layers underneath it. But generally speaking, if all you guys did was focus on this, you would be clearer with your audience immediately. You'd be bolder. You'd be more specific. So we need to have an audience that you call out, and we need to be speaking about the results. So we take business owners and we make them more productive. Is pretty vague. You know, what does productivity look like? How would I know if I'm being productive and not productive? What length of time? How much more productive am I? What type of business? So if I was looking and I wanted to be more productive, I would be more control over my time, I probably would scroll by that because that's not speaking to me. Whereas if you were calling out a specific owner, like 6-figure business owners or 6-figure founders, or you, and again, you might not be 6 figures, but if you aspire to be that, for me, anything 7 figures, I'm like leaning into it because I want to know, I want to be that. So anything like that, I'm like drawn to, even though it's not me right now. So sometimes it's about where they want to be, calling that out. but a very specific, clear audience. So businesses, what type of businesses, what type of consumer, if it's a business to, if you're dealing with consumers, with customers, you know, women, type of women, like women over 40, for example, if you're dealing with people with menopause, like calling that out, being very, very specific. Business owners, SMEs, too vague. So have a little think about the customers that you have dealt with, maybe when you were employed, the type of people that you like to deal with. If you haven't made your first customer yet, you might have to do a bit of guesswork with this. But just what would you like your diary full of? Is it the corporates? Is it the smaller business owners? Is it people butting up against 50k and they can't get past that? Like, what is it? And what's specific about them? So we can't just say business owner. We've got to say something a bit more specific. What type of business owner? What stage of business are they in? Maybe it's an industry. And then we need to talk about results. So if you're new to your offer, this might be a little bit challenging for you to get on board with, because you're like, I don't know what type of results I can deliver. I've never done it before. So just, again, pick a result that right now, today, feels really doable. And it doesn't matter if you have delivered a result, this is where we should be. Like, not overstretching and overworking where we're like, oh God, I've overpromised something and now I've got to do all this work and I've charged money for it and I don't know if I can deliver this result. Natural nerves, it's natural to feel a little nervous when you've taken money from someone and you're discharging an outcome. But let's pick a result that feels really doable right now. Like today, right now, if someone gave you £500, £1,000, whatever your offer is, what could you give them some assurity that you could deliver for that? And what kind of timeline? So in 6 months, I promise you, it's never going to be as hard as what it is right now. Now, this result will change over time the more you deliver it. So the result that I can deliver now is you will double your revenue in 6 months. You will be making, if you're making 5k, you'll be making 10. If you're making 10, you'll be at 20. There's a caveat to this. You've got to have an offer that you have sold. So I can't make that promise with someone who's, the other day, someone came in, God love him, I've got this board game idea and it's going to be with like the sea life and sharks and things. And I was like, oh my God, this is not my thing. I can't help him. So it's got to be something that you have sold. You've got to have an offer that's viable, and you've got to have space in your diary, and you've got to be motivated to fill it, and you've got to be motivated to do things that you've probably not done before. You know, because if you want a different result, we've got to do different things. But if you come with that and I come with my knowledge and we come together, you will double your revenue. Now, I couldn't say that 3-4 years ago. I couldn't do that. So I was like, you're going to feel better about selling and you're going to make some more money. So that was the promise that I could make. So go with the promise or the result that you think 80-90% of people are going to get. And then we can get firmer, we can get more specific on that. I would go back and do a couple of things. The first thing is I would do the work myself of like, where did people enter in at and where did they leave from like tangible results? If it's something that you sell like confidence or time management, productivity, feeling better, I would start to score people on the way in and score them on the way out. So I've got a lady that does sleep coaching. So score your sleep quality and they're like a 2 out of 10. Okay, at the end of 6 months, score your sleep quality. I'm now an 8 out of 10. So they have, and again, I can't do the maths, they're like 60% more effective, something like that. So then she's done that with everyone. There's a pattern forming that when her best clients show up and do the work, and they will, they get this kind of result. So she can sort of say that with confidence now because she's done the work and figured that out. Go and interview your clients. Go and ask them, what results did you get from working with me? And what was the result of that? Because of the compound value that happens here. So if you sell something like confidence, I'm going to make you more confident to go and get your next job or to ask for things in life, and you increase confidence, what does that look like for their entire life? When you make a shift, like I can help people to know how to make more money and feel good about selling, that doesn't go away. That never goes away. So what's the compound value of that? If you look at confidence, they're going to have the confidence to ask. They're going to like propel themselves forward in any given situation. They're going to take charge. It's going to feel better. How's that impacting relationships, work, career, kids, hobbies, life? And then suddenly you're like, oh my God, this is an absolute steal. So imagine how you show up in your marketing when this is locked in. So these are the two things that I want you to go back and audit your social media or your email list or however it is that you sell, networking. Are you showing up absolute conviction with these two things? Because my hunch is it's probably a bit vague. We've not dialed up that conviction in a result. We've not got clear in what that is. So if we have a look at the next slide as an example, we've got a couple of examples here. So if you go through them, Beth, so they're fully, yeah, and then we've got two examples here. So this is something that I saw on LinkedIn. Help business owners save tax, be more productive. Sounds reasonable. I might look at that. I might scroll. I might not. It's a bit. Help six-figure founders in the wellness industry. Now, just say I was in the wellness industry. Even if you didn't have that in, six-figure founders is still pretty specific. Save over 30% in annual tax. Very specific result. Without a receipt or spreadsheet. I've spelt site wrong. Site. Because we know that's a frustration point for people. People don't want to like have to log receipts and email stuff and put stuff on spreadsheets. So if you can help me save some more tax and be more tax efficient without having to do a lot of the hassle, and it's for people in my industry or where I aspire to be, I'm going to be tuning into that. So you can see how specific you can be and how efficient you can be with the words. It just sometimes takes one or two extra things to just pop into a sentence, and you've just changed how your audience view you. You're like locked in on that result. So really, it's about, I think, being known for the result that you want to deliver. And what result is that today that feels really good and really easy and really simple to deliver? Do that a bunch of times, and then you'll just by proxy get more efficient, better, you know, faster, and then your result will exponentially grow out. So the first thing is offer. A lot of reluctance in this is to niche, because I think the general consensus when I speak to people is that we're going to run out of people to sell to. Like that audience gets smaller if I niche. And actually what it does is exponentially go out, but in a very targeted audience. So you get your best clients leaning in. What happens if you don't call some form of audience out is you will try and market to everyone, and people will scroll by because they don't think it's for them. So we are counterproductive to that thought. We will have less people to sell to if we don't call out some specificness in an audience, because it will miss the mark on both ends. If you look at that first one, if you've just started out in business in years 1 to 3, you might think that's not for me, that's for people. If you were a little bit more established in business and maybe you were a limited company, you might not think that's for you. Or if you were a 6-7 figure earner, you think, oh, that's maybe for smaller businesses. So neither of you like look at that content, neither of you lean into that person. And that's one of the reasons why we don't get leads. So that's job number 1. The second, we move on, Beth, is actions. Oh, summary. So to summarize that, have a clear and compelling offering. Look at the quality of what you're saying and the quantity of the message that you're putting out there. A lot of us are just not doing enough of that. We worry we're going to annoy the audience. I only want you to produce content for people who are your best clients, don't want you to think of the people like, oh, I have to convince all these people here that I'm worth it. We just want to lovingly let them go, because your marketing should repel people as well as draw people in. We don't want to be thinking and talking and creating anything for people who, like, I have to convince them or they don't have any money. We just want to be thinking of your very best clients who want to fix the problem and are motivated to spend money. Known for the result you deliver. You want to be a walking, talking advert. Whenever you show up, you give value against that result. That is it. You are like always putting value into the ecosystem, whatever your ecosystem is. That's how you get known for the result that you deliver. If I went networking and I just sat in a corner and I didn't speak to anyone, no one would know who the sales lady was. And don't get me wrong, I have moments where I want to do that. So it's being consistent to be known for the result that you deliver. And then this is a cheeky little question, but just think about what stops your audience from stepping forwards and put that in your content. So I know a lot of people think, I'll wait 2-3 months when all this is cleared and I'll have space to make best of the investment with Helen, and then I'll reach out and book a call. And I guarantee what happens is 2 to 3 months, it might slow down a bit for them. They might get some space and life happens and something else will drop in that gap. And so if you don't decide that this is going to be a priority for you to invest the time and the resources and the money to fix this problem, it will never get fixed. So that is an incorrect thought. It's a thought that they have that they feel is true. But can you see, if we can answer for that in our content, then sometimes that's just the thing that someone needs to go, oh, that's the thought I was having, and this is how she solves for that. Maybe I can do this. She's got a webinar, or she's got a mailing list, and they start leaning in. They might not necessarily book a call straight away, but they will do something in your world. That's what we want. We want them stepping forwards. So have a little think about the thoughts that you think that could be a limiting belief for someone, but they're not aware it's limiting. What can I say to them? So some of the things that I talk about is the steps that we take. There are only ever 3 or 4 steps to make more sales. And I talk about them all the time. I've simplified it down so you don't have to do like a gazillion things and feel overwhelmed. You can literally get started right now on step 1. Like baby step 1, that is it. That's all you need to do. You need to give me an hour. And I've figured it all out, and I've got a framework that you follow so you don't get overwhelmed. So really, you could start it now with everything else that you've got going on. And the final point is you have access to an audience right now. This is super important. So just as a little exercise, you can just put it in the chat. Have a think about how many people are in your audience right now. If you add up LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, mailing list, podcast, friends and family, people who are on social media, people who you meet down the pub, people at the school gate, those kind of people. Roughly, how many do you think you're sat on now? How many eyeballs do you think are in your audience right now? Just have a little tot up and just rough estimate, just pop it in the chat. Yep, 1,000. Good, Claire. 3,000, Rebecca, yeah. If you added them all up, how many do you think you sat on? 600 to 800, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, these are really good. Hundreds and thousands, literally. Like hundreds and thousands of people. Now just imagine they're all in a room, packed in like sardines. Must be a really big room. But they're all in like a big hall, and you're there. And you're going to stand on stage and you're going to talk about, I help these people do this in this timeline. Hand up if you know someone or you have that problem and want that result. within the next 6 months. How many people do you think are going to step forward or stick their hands up? So that is essentially what is happening in the online worlds, but they're hidden and they don't make themselves known. And so we can often think, well, there's no one out there, so what's the point? What's the point in working on my content? What's the point in going networking? No one's there. They haven't made themselves known, but they can't make themselves known if you're not clear on calling out. You guys, I do that with you, and I take you from here to here in this timeline. So they can't step forward. So we've got to go first. We've got to believe there's demand out there. We've got to believe that there is an audience that I have access to, which you do because you've got full access to your LinkedIn, you've got access to your Facebook. So it's your responsibility. The only thing you have to do is show up regularly and tweak the quality and the quantity of your message. That's your responsibility in it all. That's it. So that's one job for you guys to do. So you sat on a lot of people. You've got an audience. There's going to be people in there who want what you're offering. And even if we're conservative and we said 1%, 5%, imagine 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 people, 70 people in a room. Again, same thing. Someone's going to know someone's going to stick their hand up. So you've got access to an audience right now. You've got to start buying into those thoughts and not the thoughts of like, where are these people? I don't know where they are. I don't think there's anyone out there. No one's buying right now. State of the nation, water bills have gone up, gas has gone up, like no one's got any money. We can't, that will just have us in an absolute tailspin. So people are buying, people want to fix problems. They will find the money if it's that much of a problem. And I have access to those people right now. Perfect. So next, if we come to the next point, you might potentially be marketing to people who are too early on. And this is what I see people doing, trying to scoop up and convince everybody. Whenever I hear the word like I'm trying to convince people, it tells me that you don't think you've got an audience ready to buy right now. And what I think is happening is they're too early days. So if you imagine someone that does video or photography, if they are not even like entering their own world where they're like taking pictures and trying, maybe they're doing that, they've not reached that point, they're probably too early days. If you were a photographer or videographer that helped people to make more money out of video, if they're not even doing video right now, imagine how hard that's going to be to sell to them. You've got all that you're butting up against about there, like I don't want to go on camera, I don't want to do. They're too early days. It will be so much easier to market to people who are like, I'm already using video and I take pictures, but I'm not converting anything from them. So like, I need to work out how to use my video as a conversion tool to make more sales. That is an easier market to sell to because they're already aware they've got a problem. They've already tried something. They are looking for a solution. So what I tend to find is people are trying to market to problem unaware and problem aware. And they're a bit too early days. They're not quite ready to spend the money, or they're not quite in enough pain to warrant like a solution. So we don't want them where they're unaware, where they're not aware they even have an issue. Maybe they've not even started using video yet. Problem aware, they know they've got an issue, but they're not aware of how to fix it. They might be like, oh, well, maybe everyone gets results like this. Maybe I just need to give it more time. Solution aware, like, maybe I need some external help with this. I bet there's someone out there that teaches them how to do this, or that can help me, or maybe do it for me. And then they land in your world. We want them to then become you aware of like associating you with the outcome and the result that you deliver. And then we want them aware of your solution. So we need to be talking about our programs. We need to be talking about how they're amazing. Like if you had those people in the room lined up going, yeah, I've got that problem, you wouldn't be overworking what to say next. You'd be like, step forward. This is how you pay. This is how we get started. And we want to do that in our marketing as well. I'm looking for 2 people to start to do this. who want to go from here to here in 6 months. And we call that our qualifying criteria. You have to be here, here, and here. It's a bit like what I did before. You know, you've got to have an offer that you've sold. You've got to have proof of concept if we're going to double revenue. Otherwise, I can't give you an assurance that we can do that. You've got to be motivated to do something that you've not done before. I need to know you're on board with that. You might be scared, you might be nervous, you might be like, oh, I'm going to feel uncomfortable, but you've got to have made the decision that, and I'm going to do it. And you've got to have some budget to put aside for this. You've got to be prepared to spend some money and do that hard thing to get more money. Like, you've got to be prepared to spend X amount of money to make X amount back. So that's who I'm marketing to. If I was marketing to, you've not even made a sale yet, it might be too early days for me to assure them that they're going to double their revenue. Definitely going to make some money, and selling is going to be easier, and you're going to know how to sell, but I'd have to do a different result for you. And I don't know if that's the result that I'd want to deliver over and over again. So again, being known for the result that you want to deliver. And just having a look at that and thinking, I wonder if I'm making life hard for myself and trying to convince people that are too early days. Maybe I should market a little bit further, where they're further aware. And then how can I get them aware of me? And how can I get them aware of my program or my solution or my offering? So that's also something just to have a look at. Is this landing? Yeah. Cool. Okay. 100%. Love it, Rebecca. Fantastic. Let's have a look at the next bit. So actions. The way that you get a different result is to build up your action taking and build up some new thoughts that support that. So action, what I'd love you to invite you to believe is that all strategies work. So you can pick any which way you want to sell and market yourself. If you want a cold call, you want to set up a DM campaign, emails, just go networking, don't even bother with socials. You can do it any which way you want. I've got some people that just dress the shop window on LinkedIn. They never really use it as a conversion tool. I've got some people that don't bother with social media. I've got people who just sell with networking. All works, because otherwise they wouldn't exist. They didn't work. We have to play to strengths. So I had one lady that was coaching, she'd heard about a DM strategy, and she was a counsellor, counselling private people. And I'm like, I don't see that working. I'm not sure if that's the right strategy for you. Like, tell me why you want to DM people. She was like, oh, I don't want to DM people. I hate the idea of it. I'm like, why are we doing that? And she's, oh, someone told me I needed to. So we've got to play to strengths. Her strength was face-to-face, speaking to people, very personable, very very engaging. So we're going to get her some speaking slots where she can influence on a wider scale and do some more networking face-to-face. So the biggest thing with this is picking and sticking to 2 to 3 strategies. That's it. Like, you don't have to do all the social medias. Just pick with one platform. If your clients mainly hang out on LinkedIn, just do LinkedIn. If your clients are more visual, you sell like a visual product, maybe Instagram and Facebook are the better places to hang out. If you don't like socials, again, you can dress your shop window so people can see you. You've got a presence, but maybe you're better just picking 2 or 3 places to network. Maybe a mailing list. You can choose how you want to do it. But let's play to strengths and let's pick and stick to it. And I would say a good 6 months is needed. When I hear networking doesn't work or LinkedIn doesn't work, I'm like, tell me what you were thinking as you were doing it, or tell me how that's played out. And usually the networking's like, I went once, stood in a corner, didn't speak to anyone because I didn't really want to be there. No one spoke to me. None of my clients are there, so it doesn't work. You're like, yeah, of course it's not going to work. Of course not. But tell me what your thoughts are about meeting people. Oh, I hate the small talk. I hate the chit chat. I don't want to do it. Don't do it then. Like, just be a bit more bolder. Like, you don't have to do it. That you can do it your way. You can get a little plan of how you're going to network. And one of my clients, I love this. She said, I'm going to write down the kind of trigger phrases or like words that people use that tell me that that is something of interest. So they might, because she's a counsellor, they might say, my friend is really struggling, or like, oh yeah, so and so's kind of been really struggling with that kind of, you know, they're sort of hitting the alcohol, or they're like not sleeping at night, or my friend or my sister or my brother had that going on, you know. So it's a little some trigger phrases that she's written down to be like, when I hear that, that's my cue to insert and engage and ask and step forward and just say, oh, how's that going? Because that's the bit that wasn't happening. She was like, oh, okay, right, bye. And I'm like, what was that conversation? How? Oh, I didn't converse, like, because I feel really uncomfortable about it. So we got a little plan of how she was going to do it and what she was listening out for. Then we got some measures to like make sure that we knew how it was working. So new people, I entered into her world on LinkedIn. You know, maybe joining her mailing list, booking one-to-ones, having sales calls. Like, there were some mini measures that we put against it so she could see it was working. And then we cleaned up some of her thinking about small talk and going networking in general. And then she made a decision to commit to be like, I think it's my best strategy that plays to all my strengths. I'm going to decide to make that work. And she now regularly books 2 or 3 calls, and she networks and she does LinkedIn. That's it. 2 strategies, nice and easy. Got a plan, got a framework that works for her. That's all we need to do. We don't need to overthink it. We don't need to be on like every platform. We need to just find our consistency level that generates the consistent results, and not flip flop around. Like, I'm here, then I'm there, then I'm there, then I'm not there, then I'm. People can't grab hold of that. They can't see you enough times to remember you. So we've got to pick. For her, there was 3 networking groups that she went to, and that was it. And she went religiously, and she booked them all in advance. They were already in her diary. She didn't have to worry about it. She didn't have to think about it. Content creation for LinkedIn was in sporadically, so she knew, like, I'm doing chunks and I'm doing it this time. It looks slightly different every week, but every week those 2 actions were in there: her networking and her creation time on LinkedIn. That was it. So, like, nice and easy. Let's not overwork it. So what are your actions that you're taking? Are you flip-flopping all around? Are you trying to do all platforms? Let's pick and stick. Let's make that work. Okay. If we go on to the final slides, what you're thinking matters. The thoughts are going to help you so much in this, more than anything else. So you have access to an audience right now. If you think, I don't know where these people are, when you come to those situations, whether it's online, in person, you're producing content, you're going to be writing it from a lack place of like, I'm doing it, but I don't believe there's anyone out there. Imagine you producing that same written piece of content if you're like, I'm thinking of a specific client here, or I've made my specific client if you've not got clients yet, and I'm doing this for them. And I'm going to get in their heads, and I'm going to spend more time thinking about what they think so I can produce something really good that's going to help them. So you've got access to an audience right now is going to change how you show up. There's demand for the result you offer right now. Like, imagine if you think like, oh, there isn't, nobody's buying right now. Creates a what's the point thinking, and then what is the point in doing anything? So then you don't. So what I want you to do is, when you get that thought, what's the point in all of this? I want you to answer it. What is the point? Why are you doing it? Are you doing it to influence? How many people do you want to influence today? What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for the person that just shows up whenever she can be asked, or whether she's in the mood or in the zone? And I know that sounds a bit harsh, but that's sometimes what we do. I wasn't in the, I couldn't think of anything, so I can only do it when I'm, you know, in the right place. It's the worst thing you can do for your business, because you're only going to be in that place for like that amount of time. So we have to learn how to get ourselves in a place where we can create constantly, and it doesn't take that much effort and energy. The best way you can do that is think of your audience. So there's demand for the result that you offer right now. All methods work. You choose which ones. I get to choose how I sell and market my business. Very empowering. Now you've got choice. Now you've got options. Things open up a little bit more now. And I love this thought. I'm going to end on this, but wherever you show up, you create opportunity. Imagine that being a walking, talking value machine that just inputs into your ecosystem against the result that you deliver for that audience. Oh, I mean, like, how much more opens up when you do that? You just create opportunity. You sow the seeds now for later on. You just constantly be in this walking, talking value machine. Wherever I show up, it doesn't matter if the networking event is a bit of a flop and I've decided it's not my place. I can still make some relations. I can add people into my LinkedIn network. I can help those people. I don't have to choose that as the place to go if it's not my vibe. But I can take some core people that I had some really good conversations with, pop them in my network. They get the good stuff. Who knows where that's going to lead? So again, it's about an attitude shift to this. So you've got an audience right now, demand for what you deliver. You can choose the way you do it. All methods work. You're in control of that empowerment. And wherever you show up, you get to create the opportunities. You also get to not do it as well. That's also a choice. But that's going to flush out a different result. And I don't think anyone on the call wants that. So, yeah. So what you think matters so much. So that's it. So we've got a summary there. Have a clear offer. Speak to all the people. Don't like, oh, I won't speak to them. They don't look like my kind of client. We don't know. Speak to all the people. It's who they know as well. You may have to do a bit more. But if the result is on the other side of that, can we be willing to do that? Can we be willing to do it and we feel a bit tired and, you know, like I'm all for boundaries and looking after ourselves, but sometimes we just have to just push that just that little bit more. Let's just right on the other side of that. Look at the facts and evidence that it's working. All mechanisms work. Let's play to strengths. Let's vary our asks. We don't want to be like book a call all the time. What else can we offer the people who aren't quite ready yet? And your thoughts impact the outcome more than anything else. You could get the strategy and it's still not working. It's like having the handbrake on and the accelerator being pressed at the same time. Not great. So that's it. These are success stories that I've worked with clients this week. So I snapshotted them all. And there's people there that are like, repeat clients are coming in. They've had 3 inquiries, people phoning them. They followed us on LinkedIn recently. You know, one-to-ones booking up. They've run out of space now for one-to-ones, which is amazing. Top left, doing a little happy dance. Thank you, because you're giving me the mindset shifts I need to be able to do this. Just been instructed on a job. It's only small, but it's a win. It's those baby steps. This is amazing. The small jobs become the bigger jobs. You can't get the big jobs if that belief gap's too big. We've got to start somewhere. That's it. And then go on to the next slide. So my offering to you is that I will run some sales audit calls. I've put that I've got 4 left in February. I think I've only got 1, but I've opened up the spaces for March. So my fresh eyes on how you're selling right now. We'll explore top to bottom of your process. We'll go through how that's flushing out, and we'll identify at least the top 3 things that you need to action to change to see a different result financially, because the current results are being driven by the current thoughts and actions. So we need to identify why they're not working and what would be needed to see a different result. So there's a QR code on there, and I will also drop in the link just in case that doesn't work. It should work because I did try it, but you know, tech's not been my friend today. We've fallen out. So yeah, so those audits are for people who, it's not sales call, it's for people who just are interested to know what, like, for the life of me, I can't work out why I'm not making the money that I want to make. And how do I go about it? What's my starting point? After that, if you want to talk about how I can help you, that's fine. we can have a separate conversation. But I'm a big believer of being upfront, so like no one wants to come into those calls and then think, hang on a second, this is a sales call, I thought I was getting a little bit of help. So this is purely to get some help, and then if you want to move on and have a look at how I can help support that, then we can have a separate conversation. There we go.
Oh, Helen, you're amazing.
That's it. What questions have you got? What thoughts has everyone got? Questions, observations?
Jess, go for it.
Can always rely on me for a question.
Love it.
Or two. So I that was amazing. It was really good. And I'd already been thinking about the messaging that I'd been like kind of putting out and attracting perhaps the wrong people. But my first question is, what if we want to change what we're known for? Because I don't have to work very hard in terms of if I want one-to-one, I'm fully booked and parents keep recommending me.
Nice.
It's really great, but I'm time stuck. I can't expand or do anything with that. So I wanted to start like a group and more support to parents. But I just feel the parents that I have at the moment don't really want that. They're already clued up enough, and then they just want to pass their child over for an hour to get what they need. So it's kind of something different. So I just wondered, how do I go about that? And the second question is, with social media, and you said about sticking to one, is it worth like copying and pasting content onto more than one platform, or should you like really specifically focus on your audience on one?
Yeah, really good questions. Well, let me answer the second one first. Copying and pasting content can work. I don't personally like it, and the reason why is if you look at your own like way of looking at this, we've probably all got Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or some form of that. Not to mention Reddit, well, X. God, there's so many, isn't there? We will go on, if you look at the main three of like Insta, Facebook, and LinkedIn, we will go on them to consume in a different way. So if we had like quite a lengthy post on LinkedIn and then we just dropped it on Facebook, it's probably too many words for that consumption. We kind of just want to scroll quick, like visual stuff. Instagram's very visual, but it's created for that reason. So you might have to modify it slightly, just based on how people consume that platform. So I would be doing more visuals on the Facebook and the Insta and less words, because that's what that is used for. And then LinkedIn, you've got a bit more of an opportunity to say more words and educate, and really like drill down into it. Whereas you might write that out on LinkedIn, do some videos, but on Instagram or Facebook, you would just do a video on it and you'd explain it in a short reel or something. So that's the first one. So like, yes, but like just a slight modification on it. So use the same post, but chop it, and your same idea, but like chop it a little bit so it's more relevant for that platform. The first one is the stage of business that you sound like you're at. And again, this is just a snapshot of it, but I think you're ready to pull a price up because you can probably make more money with, like, you're ready to put your price up fully booked. So put your price up. You might end up selling to less people, but you will have the same revenue. But when you're fully booked like that, it's a sure sign of like you're in demand. So you can pull the price up. The second thing is moving to a group offering is fine. Make sure you've got a little bit of money to stack up so that you can learn how to sell a group, because it will be a slightly different, it could be the same client that has the same problem, but they are willing to do it in a different mechanism. Not everyone wants to do group, not everyone wants to do one-to-one. So we're going to have to learn how to sell to that group client. Like you say, if they don't want to just one-to-one, they want to drop the kids off and go and leave them. If you can't do that in a group setting, what does that client look like that is willing to engage with a group mechanism? So you probably deliver the same result, but it's just how you do it and who wants that. So it'd be calling that out. So learning how to do that. So speaking to all the people that you know that have had an interest in group, and why group. So I did this with my clients. I maxed out. I basically built my own cage. Like, I've got nowhere to go. I've got no time in the diary. I can't help more people. So I put my prices up and I launched group. And the group was a different mentality. They were more willing to self-learn. They didn't need as much proximity to me, or didn't want that. And they were happy with peer support. They got their fix, so to speak, from the group versus having the regular proximity to me. And there's some people that just didn't, they're the polar opposites. And so it's getting into the brain of why do you favour group? Some people like it gives me a faster result because I engage differently. So it's just learning the idiosyncrasies of how they think about the way of learning. But the result, I would guess it's going to be a similar result that you deliver. It's just going to be packaged differently.
Yeah, and so am I right in, because I feel almost that it would be a different client, like you're saying with the one-to-one. That's what I'm finding hard, is it feels like a completely different person now that I'm selling to for a group.
Yeah, it's probably not that much different. They've probably got the same problem. They just might think about how they want the only difference is like what they've tried before and maybe how they want to fix it. That's the only thing. So I went for the same thing. It'll feel like a completely different thing. We've got to kind of rip everything up and start again. You've probably got 10% that you need to tweak. That's it. Which is kind of like how they think about their problem and how they want to fix it. They've probably got the same issue and they want the same result. It's just that middle bit.
Okay, thank you so much. That's really helpful. Thank you.
Jane, for your answer to that, I've got no experience with paying clients yet. It's not a problem. I feel like I've struggled to create an outcome-focused offer and therefore found the wording like difficult in the messaging. Go with a result that just don't allow your brain to keep you confused with this. Just decide what result you're going to go with that feels really possible to do right now. And if you're really like, I don't know, just guess, just make a starting point. I think I'm going to back myself. I could take people from here to here in 6 months. That's the result that you start doing. Maybe you've delivered the result before, but in a different, like maybe it was in a paid role. So use that as an example.
I've had the result through my own family experience, but I feel sometimes talking about that over and over again feels like it's highlighting that I'm not working with someone else.
Yeah, people won't pick up on it the same way as you do. You could probably be creative with that as well. You can say it in different ways. One of the things I love working with about my clients is we fix this. When my clients come into me, you know, they always seem to have this issue. This is how we get this result for them. So we can be creative with how we're saying it without having to repeat the same, like, oh, I did this result with this person. Like generally clients come in here, we get this result for them and this is how we do it. And you only have to have done it once. Like literally you only have to have done it once, and it doesn't even have to be paid. You just have to give your brain the evidence of like, I can do it. And that's why choosing a result that feels really easy right now is the key thing. It's not to like, oh, but I want to be delivering up here. Like, yeah, that's cool, but like right now start here and then build up. Otherwise that belief gap is going to be so big. Whatever you write in your content, that's going to come out of like, I don't really buy it. So stick with the result you've already delivered and just get creative with how you can say it lots of different ways. And when you show it with that level of confidence, no one's going to be like, oh, I think she's only done this with one person. So that's not the vibe that you're going to give out.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's okay as well to say, look, I've just done it with one person recently and they got this result. Do you want to do it with me? Like you can just say that. you know, it's fine to admit where you are, because you only need to be here for your clients. When you start to try and be here, they're like, something feels weird, like she's being weird, something's not amiss, because you're out of alignment with it. So just stay with the result that you can do right now, and be really proud of that work that you've done with that one internal family member, because it's transformation that you've delivered, whether they're family or not. They're still, like, you've done that, you've helped them with that, so be really proud of that.
Thank you so much, and it was a great session. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Yeah.
Any more questions? Any more? If you don't have a question, I would be really curious if you could put one, Sarah, helpful we'll get from the results we have previously delivered. I feel like it can be a fine line. It's not bragging if it's true.
Yeah, and actually it will only feel like bragging if you're doing it from a me point of view of like, look how good I am. When we're talking about results, remember we're doing it from a, this is how I help people like you who are stuck get results like this. This is how I've done it before with people. So yes, you should be bragging about it, because you've freaking delivered an amazing result for someone time and time again. But it's not from a, look how good I am. It's from, I've got a skill set that delivers this transformation. Do you want it? I'm wanting to help more people. So it's more from a service point of view, from a like an audience point of view. When it feels braggy, there's a fine line between arrogance and blowing on trumpet. For me, a really simplistic way of looking at this is arrogance is walking around thinking you're a better person than everyone else. Having a skill set that you are good at, I would say I'm better skilled at sales than most people. I don't go around thinking I'm a better person than everyone else, but it's taken me a long time to be okay with like, this skill set is valuable, and like it's okay to shout about that because other people need some help with it. So that's you're right, that's the fine line. And I don't think anybody on this call is walking around every day going, oh, everyone's getting it wrong and I'm a better person. So that's where, like, if you can just tell, like, where am I coming from with this? I have got a skill set that's actually really like I've honed this skill and I deliver this transformation. We should be talking about that, because that's what your clients want, and that's how you can feel okay with it, because you're not walking around being arrogant with it. So that's like a good way of trying to differentiate.
Yeah, love it. I love it. Helen, I have absolutely taken so much value from this call. I would love for everyone to put one action that they're going to take away and go and do on the back of this call. I've got a couple. Personally, I'm going to tell them, but you can put them in the chat or you can come off mute. One, networking. That is definitely in my strengths. I'm not doing that as much. So I think more networking. So thanks for the nudge. And the other one I'm going to do, because I felt very seen, is I'm going to go back and look at my confidence scores, because I score people as well, but I've never done an overall scoring of the what an average person or all of my clients get from where they start to where they end. So that is what I'm going to go audit, and maybe go, as you said, and interview some previous clients and say, what is that ripple effect? Like, yes, you've got more confidence. And you asked for a promotion or you asked for a pay rise, but what else did it enable you to do? Because I think that there's more juice in the squeeze in the juice, in the from that. So
squeeze the pips out of it a bit more.
100% I salute you, because like, I massive belief shifts in that whole session, Helen, and I knew you were going to be pure gold, and I'm so thrilled that you are. Yeah, for you guys to pop into the chat, what one action, just commit to one action from today, like as a bit of a thank you to Helen for her time at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. What your action is to come away from that. Yes, I was hoping some people have booked some calls with Helen. Amazing, because that's a very generous offer. I may well book a call with her myself. Sarah, wording change, what we've achieved for couples in the past, and that they can have that too. Yeah, love it. The booked call with Helen, my action is to refine my outcome, focus offer, and look exactly at what my promise is. Yeah, love it. So it says thank you. Jane, I'm going to look at my content and see how I can make it more outcome focused. I'm also going to look into networking. Jess, I'm going to call out my people and be more specific about who they are. Rebecca, I'm going to contact a list of 8 previous contacts to ascertain exact website growth. Yep, love that. Yeah,
that'd be amazing. Yeah.
Claire, thank you so much. I'm going to try and get to my client's head and think more about what they want and how I can help them.
Yeah, I love
A
that.
lot of belief shifting. I will I'll copy and paste that and send that over to you in a DM, so that in case that's helpful for you.
Yeah, that would be great if we could just maybe take a snapshot of I've delivered this and this is what came out of it. That'd be really helpful. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I want it to be worth your while as well, and obviously if I can give the testimonial, then I'd be more than happy to do that. But like, knew you'd be pure gold. Like, it was absolutely a valuable session, and I know for those people who haven't been able to join, that is going to be a must-watch part of our curriculum. I absolutely love you to bits, and I can't thank you enough.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I love it. I've got a mission to help over 1 million people in my life to see something different in how we sell. You guys have all like been part of that tally, so we're up to nearly 10,000, so we've got a bit of a way to go. But hopefully we can exponentially, as I go through my business, like push that out. So I've also dropped my LinkedIn on there. Love to connect with you all. Welcome you into my world. I put loads of free content out there, webinars, masterclasses, post daily on it. So just engage as much as you want.
Super. I will let you go. I know it's already late, but so appreciate you, and I'll see you in real life on Monday.
See you later. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your energy, time, input. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. See you all later.
Bye.